Okay, let's get started with a typical task we have to do in SQL Server, and that is just add a new user, comes into our environment. We need to create a login so we can connect to the server, and we're also going to connect the user to a database that he needs to use and access to get or write data. So what we're going to start with here is I have SQL Server Management Studio already open, and what I'm going to do is go first to the security folder here, and I'm going to create a new SQL Server login. I can see all the logins that I've created already, or that the system has created, and what I'm going to do is simply right click on this and say new login. This will allow me to create all the properties necessary for the user to connect to the server. And one of the first things I'm going to do is just choose the user's login name. And I'm going to go here and browse my Active Directory network and find I have created a SQL Server user account already in Active Directory, and that's what I'm going to select. All right, and I'm going to click OK, and it is a Windows authentication-based account. All right, we'll look in another video how to make a SQL Server authentication-based account. I can map it to certificates or credentials and so on. I could assign it to various server roles. Okay, I can do a user mapping as well, securables, status, which we'll get into those later. And I'm also right now I'm just going to set the master database, or the default database, sorry, to, let's say, sales, which is a sales user. Default language will be fine. And I've created a SQL Server user 1 account. That gives him the permissions right now to basically just log in to the SQL Server. Next step would be to go to the database this user is going to use, like the sales database here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to open up the folder for sales. There's a security folder, and it shows all the current users. And all I need to do is right-click and say New User. Okay, and what I'm going to do is this is a new SQL Server user that has a login to the SQL Server, and I'm going to choose that login name. I'm just going to browse for it, and I already see here SQL Server user 1. I say OK, okay, and then I can then type in the user's name that I want to use. I'll call it SQL user 1. Okay, and then I can change various other properties here. Let's say the default schema, what schemas he owns, groups that he belongs to, and so on. We'll do it roles in a little while. Right now, I'm just going to say OK, and now I have both a user account in the sales database, and I have a login for that user here on the SQL Server. It's a very simple task, but you'll need to do this to give a user access to a database. I could go to other databases like products. Okay, you might need to get in that database, and again, go into security, users. I simply just add the user here as well. So one login will go to multiple databases within the database server. So simple tasks here. We'll see in other videos how we can expand upon this, and we're going to talk about roles in the next video. All right, thank you.